I closed the door to Finn's quarters behind me, taking a stock of the crumpled sheet up on his bed, remembering their warmth and finding it strangely endearing that Finn hasn't bothered to tidy them since I reluctantly dragged myself from them this morning. He appears clutching two glasses filled with his favorite poison, and huffs a quiet laugh, shaking his head at me.
Why make the bed when it's surely just going to get messy again,
I completely agree with that. I scoff, biting my bottom lip to stifle a sly grin that threatens to curl. I'm still getting used to that new awareness of him, low and thrumming, and constant in the back of my mind. When he smiles, I fall apart. Any glimpse of his fangs coaxing memory of the dull ache, the sight of him with my blood upon his tongue. Ethan. I clear my throat, noticing how dark his eyes have gone, black rimmed with gold. Yeah? He takes a sip of his drink, his tongue brushing over his lips to chase the taste.
I am not hungry, but I can be if you wish.
Ooh. I place my hand over my throat, over where he marked me, and he laughs, a low and satisfying rumble. Come, sit with me. Would you like one? Looks like you could use it. I think it's the perfect situation to drink. I pry the crystal tumbler from his grip, nodding my thanks as I bring it to my lips. It's delicious, refreshing, and has just the right amount of burn as it slides down my throat that I almost forget my troubles for a blissful moment. Thank you. He raises his glass toward me before taking a sip of his own, humming his approval. I miss being drunk, you know, just the peace it used to bring me, which wasn't necessarily a good thing, but oh, I did have my fun. His laugh is wistful, and I wonder how long a vampire lives before they begin to forget their human days. I daren't ask him, for I don't want to sour the mood, but one day, maybe. Surely there are ways for you to become inebriated, even if it's not quite the same. Finn shrugs. Sure, there are many ways actually, but the buzz wears off before you can really even enjoy it. Besides, there are other ways to find pleasure. And I'm somehow sure you've explored them all. I laugh at the way he waggles his brows, his pointed ears twitching alongside them. As he watches me, his smile fades, his dark brows drawn together. He sets his glass aside and moves to stand in front of me, reaching for my hands with his own. When his fingers close around mine, it's like an anxiety I wasn't even aware has been sated. The world almost doesn't feel right unless I'm touching him anymore. Then, the press of his body as he tucks me close is the best kind of medicine to combat every jumbled thought that crosses my worried mind. He presses his iron palm to my face, and it almost feels like he's staring deep into my soul.
Something plagues you.
I can feel the wonderful shift and bunch of muscles beneath the soft fabric. When I ignore his question and instead bury my face into the crocus's neck, he smells like a dying summer. Funny, considering he hasn't seen the sun in centuries, but it's a warm scent, even though he himself is so very cold. I mean, his personality is pretty warm, I guess. I'll be fine. Finn huffs, the hair at my temple rustling at the gentle gust of breath. He brushes his lips over the shell of my ear and murmurs low and deep.
The beat of your heart betrays you, Hunter.
He drops his hands to my hips, gently pushing me away. I know he could listen if he wanted to, could just let himself hear what I'm thinking, the thoughts that drown me. But he doesn't, instead letting me decide if I'd like to share my woes. I think about Fiero's word to me as he slipped into the darkness. I'd give anything not to hurt Finn, but I have to do what I feel is right. This doesn't just affect me, it affects everyone. There's so much riding on me, on the decisions I make. I've never expected to carry such a burden in coming here.
You shouldn't have to. It isn't fair, what you've had to endure. But you were the strongest and most capable hunter I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And I have known many in my time.
He smiles, tilting his head.
I wouldn't want anyone else deciding my fate but you. Lunaris is lucky to have you on its side, but I am the luckiest man to be able to call you mine.
Oh. Mine. Hearing that word, that confirmation, even though I already know he's mine, as I am his, it erased my thoughts in an instant. There's an ache in my chest that unfurls for him like a flower at the first touch of rain, and I lean in to brush my lips against his. He kisses me with ferocity. I feel right down to the tip of my toes, as if every press of his mouth against mine will further solidify his love for me. Finn groans and swipes his tongue deep into my mouth before I tease him, nearly breaking the kiss but letting Finn chase me back into it with a low growl. It tastes like whiskey, rich and warm, and I could get drunk off that alone. The need, I feel, is a living thing, nestled deep in my bones, and when Finn surges closer, I wonder if it really is possible to go mad from wanting someone this much. Dramatic, maybe, but I'll be damned if I care, because if temptation were a living thing, its name would be Finnegan Casimir. Ethan. Finn murmurs softly against the slick tangle of our kiss, sweeping his hands down my sides.
Stay with me.
If I could. I can't. I have to make a choice. I have to meet with August. Finn pulls away with a sorry whimper, a sad look in his impossibly pretty eyes.
Very well. But you'll come back?
I'll come back. Always. Finn carefully snacks my chin and lifts my face back towards his own, bringing our mouths together in approval, the kiss shattering in its gentle intensity. He drops his gaze to his lap, his brow twitching into a frown. Now, tell me, what do you need to say to dear Harold when you finally face him? His eyes search my face as if looking for answers I don't know how to give, or don't want to give. Yeah, and of course we're still going all in for confronting. I ponder my response because, truly, my thoughts are still jumbled, anxiety mounting. But one thing I know for sure is that when what Harry has done is doing is wrong. I confront him and expect straight answers. I want to know why he did it.
I just ask that you're careful. No sound-minded man would make the decisions that he has. Of that much I'm sure. You don't know how he'll react to being confronted.
He's right, and somehow the thought hadn't crossed my mind. Why not? But Harry cares for August deeply, and they will be by my side. I'm not sure Harry would want to bring harm to August, or even myself. He looks at me like I've gone mad.
He's directly responsible for the death of his husband. You and August are just collateral damage at this point. He killed Levi, and that seemed like an impossible feat to me for a very long time, centuries even. He's strong.
I completely agree with him. Yet James to help him, didn't he? Finn scoffs, and I can tell his frustration is mounting.
You've seen his face and that pretty scar? He fought Leviathan Casimir, and he lives to tell the tale. And my sire? He's Ash. I spent centuries terrified of him, watching him terrorize whole countries just for fun.
I stare at him, at the strange way he almost vibrates. Is it fear, maybe? Something long ingrained in him after hell his sire put him through, that the mere thought of the man has him shaking like this? Maybe he's just worried about us?
Harold Addington put him down in one night with the same ease in which he puts his boots on in the morning. You will not take this lightly. You will be careful. I'll be damned if I'm going to lose you after all of this.
Oh. I smile, swallowing the lump that forms in my throat as I try to reassure the vampire that sits before me, wounded by the thoughts of losing me. He's lost so much, so many people that he's loved as he loves me. I cannot even begin to fathom the pain he's endured in his long, long life. He laughs fiercely and without hesitation, and maybe that is a worse curse than his immortality. I love you, and I promise I do my very best to stay alive. Finn rolls his eyes, his lips still set in a grim line, but twitching traitorously.
You'd better. I'll be terribly lonely again.
Oh. Maybe we can become a vampire too, and spend eternity together. In an attempt to lighten the mood. You know, Raven was right about you. You are very mopey. Finn's eyes widen almost comically, but when he sees my smile, he relaxes.
I could bite you, you know?
Is that even a threat at this point? I tap my neck. Yes, I'm aware. I remember it quite fondly, actually. He growls, still pouting, and it's adorable. Not at all as frightening as I'm sure he hoped it would be. I suppose I should go then. I don't exactly sound convincing. In fact, I think I'd be quite happy to stay down here and hide away from my responsibilities for a little longer. But I must be responsible, unfortunately. Finn shifts to stand, running a hand through his hair, rubbing at his chin. He's twitchy tonight, showing more signs of humanity than I'm used from him.
I know I said it already, but be careful.
I smile at him, reaching for the handle of the door. I fought much bigger, much scarier things than Harold Idington. As the words leave my mouth, I feel a terrible dread watching over me, and Finn notices.
Never underestimate your foe, especially when they have nothing to lose.
I love you. I love you too, Finn. Farewell, Hunter. I find August in the office, staring at the desk, his rifle paper strewn in different stacks, but without his usual method. They look worse than usual, look despondent, almost as they have given up being promptly and orderly, but I know that's not the case. August is adept at keeping the flow of reports moving quickly, a stickler for punctuality. I tap the door once with my knuckles, and they grant me permission to enter with a lazy nod of the head.
Days like today make me wonder if I should just pack all of this in and run home to my parents with my tail between my legs. Or maybe become a nomad or something.
I know that's not true, but the defeat and their tone make me think they've been like this for some time. I don't think the nomad lifestyle is quite for you, August. They have a laugh, sighing heavily, and characteristically slumped in their chair.
One day, hopefully soon, we'll be free from the shackles of all this corruption. I'll bring order to Lunaris. Or I guess I'll at least die trying. I've never been very good at quitting.
Let's try not to die. I poke at the seemingly never-ending pile of parchments and take a seat before them, pointedly ignoring their macabre declaration. What is all of this anyway? There seem to be more than usual. August shrugs, waving their hand dismissively over the mess.
Take your pick. Reports, complaints, and all of the petty bureaucratic bullshit that Harry usually deals with.
I so graciously offered to take some of his work off his hand when James passed. The lips curl into a snarl, the teeth bared, and the next words are almost venomous, distinctly lacking emotion. Aren't I kind? They're tired, frustrated, overworked, and apparently overcome with bitterness. In one way, I'm grateful. Seeing them upset and so downtrodden over Harry, I hated it, but this mood doesn't suit them. I truly long for a day where I see them well rested and appreciated. I just want to know you're going to be okay. You're working yourself to the bone. Another dismissive wave of the hand, and I gather I'm not going to get much more than that out of them. I will be fine, Ethan. I have to be, don't I? I watched as they pinched the bridge of their nose, their weak argument not all that convincing. A quiet knock at the door grabs our attention, and a timid junior poked their head around the frame, awkwardly raising their hand at August. General Willenheim? They raised their brow at him, their impatience clear. What?
You asked me to let you know when the Lieutenant General returned. Well, he's in his office. I just saw her.
Thank you, recruit. You can go now, and do not tell anyone what I ask of you. I see the heavy bob of their throat and the flush that paint their cheeks as August quickly moves to stand, and with a nod, the boy scurries away. August and I share a look, and I wonder if they're thinking the same as me, that we're not ready. Or that we don't want this, scared of what we'll learn, that it'll all become real at long last. August places a trembling hand upon my arm, their eyes wide and bright, and when they speak, there's sort of manic edge to their words, their voice.
I need to know how you feel about all of this before... I need to know because I cannot make up my mind.
No, is he crying? Or is that magic? Poor them. They tighten their grip on me, and for the first time since I've known them, August Wilhelm looks scared. I feel something thicken in the air, a kinetic shift, an almost suffocating buzz. August, breathe. They exhale sharply, and their aura is distinctly panicked. I place my hand over theirs, and I feel a shock as our skins meet, but my touch calms them enough for the air to clear, so I relent and don't pull away. It's okay. It's going to be okay. No, it's not. It's not. They shake me off, pacing, angry tears trailing their cheeks.
Everything I worked for, everything I've ever stood for. I saw him as my mentor, a man who raised me with a kindness my father would never even dream of showing me.
Oh. Was I so blindly by that affection that I didn't see the evil in him? I shake my head, knowing August is not a bad judge of character. Harry's just good. Good at manipulating, or spectacularly talented in disassociation. You weren't to know, August. None of us knew, or could possibly dream it might be him. They scoff, rolling their eyes.
I followed him about with doe eyes, lapping up any scraps of approval he dared to lavish me with. I've always been desperate to be acknowledged and told I'm doing a good job. He gave that to me in abundance.
Oh, poor August. I want to hug them. I don't believe he realized that what he's doing is wrong, but that doesn't excuse it, and nor does it make you complicit. August laughed at that, a maniacal laugh.
No one evil ever sees themselves as so. I've encountered it enough to know that much.
We stand in silence for what feels like forever, both of us gathering our thoughts, our courage. This isn't going to be easy, or even marginally fun, but... Before I get the chance to finish my sentence, you hear the all too familiar heavy thud of boots in the corridor. It's him. And then Lieutenant General Harold Addington appears in the doorway, a smile upon his face.
Good evening, both.
Unconsciously, I find myself tensing, bracing for what's about to come. If only this man was a hunter, someone I could read past the look of his face and basic human cues. If Harry is an evil man, he's adept at hiding it. His smile is kind, even now, and I wonder if he has any idea what kind of situation he's walking himself into. Sir. Harry nods at me, his eyes flicking to August, who's quite visibly distressed and poorly attempting to hide it. I look at them, offering them a clipped smile, hoping it might help them keep it together. Lest we both fall apart. Harry, it's good to see you looking well. Their words are forced. Harry doesn't appear to be planning on staying long, his gauntlet, longsword and coat remaining in place. Instead, he eyes us both as he crosses the room, stopping in front of the fireplace that flickers invitingly.
I have to apologize for my absence. As I'm sure you can imagine, I haven't exactly been in the right frame of mind to hold the whole country on my shoulders, let alone Lunaris.
I'm sure it's been very difficult for you.
They're struggling, and mostly failing, to keep the exasperation out of their voice. At this point, I wonder if it's just easier to tear the bandage off the wound, expose the rotting flesh, lest August truly cast a storm upon this building. I step forward, and August stands quickly, their jaws raving along the marble floor.
Is something wrong, Augustus? You don't look well.